Yo, I'm Mat4yo, and this is Chisel This! Oh, hey, sorry. You just caught me playing Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I am so happy. And this is really an exciting week because I got to spend it with one of my best buds. I think you know him quite well.
You laughing at juice, dude? There's a juice.
Also, remakes of one of our favorite games ever came out.
We've all journeyed to we don't know where. It's Pokemon Rap Part 4.
And of course, I had the chance to create a tribute to it myself.
When I hear the pitter-patter of the rain, every drip it brings me back to better days. Sitting by the lake, checking my reflection, thinking certain memories would never fade.
In the form of a new Pokemon rap music video. It's a remix to my favorite theme in the entire game, and the music was created by the ever-talented Vanillix Pavilion, so please go check it out. We're almost at 1,000 views. I would love for you to take a listen and leave a comment and let me know what you think. But for now, we're talking about another video that we had the chance to work on last week, and that is the Pokemon Rivals Rap Cypher. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I've already watched it 1,000 times, especially because it was being made while Cam was here and he was giving his input live and we were able to watch it unfold together. As Freshie mixed it, as Kevin edited it. It was all a glorious behind-the-scenes experience. But I did want to make a video to break down some of my favorite parts and of course break down my verse as Wally, because Wally and Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire just happen to be some of my favorites, and it's always an honor to be able to represent them in rap form. So typically the way a cypher works is that Cam will select the theme, this time it was Rivals. He will select the rappers that he thinks are best suited to represent those rivals, and he will also have to make selections on which rivals will appear, not only based on the talent that we have at our disposal, but also based on however many are in this certain generation. We can't do 3 or 4 for Gen 6. The video is going to be 15 minutes long. So we just picked Shauna because we think Chi-Chi would be a great fit. So Cam sends out an instrumental, and the instrumental is very bare, so we don't know what it's going to feel like in the final product. And that's a blessing because it gives us the chance to influence how the instrumental sounds with the direction that we take with the way that we write. Maybe I'm going really fast and they think it's appropriate to cut the beat out and have that moment be very impactful. I don't know exactly what they'll do with it, but I know that they'll do something with it and it'll be a great moment for the listener. Then we sit down and we're looking at all of the elements of that character. So I consider myself to be a Hoenn historian, so didn't need the Bulbapedia page too much. However, just simply going on there will give you a lot of information, but also a lot of key words to bring up in your rap verse. And you see that as a recurring feature in everyone's rap verse. Then of course you're looking for ways to relate that to rap terminology, hip hop culture, maybe a reference to a rapper or a rap song. And of course you're trying to create an interesting and compelling flow. So how do you balance all of those things? Which one do you prioritize? We see a whole diversity of those types of verses in this particular cypher. So I'm just going to go through the cypher and give you some of the highlights, show you some of my favorite lines, favorite moments, point a couple things out. Of course, not everything, we'll leave some of it up to you. And I will most definitely dive in completely to my verse and rework it and tell you how I actually designed it.
It's that dude blue, back in a new tune, smacking your whole team till you're black in a new moon.
So Ham Sandwich comes in with Blue, who is a character who we've already seen not only in a cypher, but at the very beginning of a cypher. And it's a character that we're going to see again in a little bit of a different form at the end of this cypher. So he does the thing when he references G.E.'s original verse. It's that dude Blue, keeps the rhyme scheme, changes some of the words. His flow is fantastic. He's riding the wave. He even goes longer than G.E. goes with that rhyme scheme. I like a short and sweet callback just a little bit better. For example, aloha to the alola, wait, and then we change it. But nevertheless, it's still a cool reference and people seem to really pick up on it in the comments. And I think that that's what we're trying to do here, and where Ham Sandwich succeeds is that we're creating a cultural moment, right? It's like it's a community event, And if you know, then you know, and you feel like you're a part of this excitement. So people who remember GE's verse will hear that and they'll think, oh my God, and they'll get a big smile on their face. And so that's a very successful moment in my book. I also like when Ham Sandwich does the solar or a fire blast and then references hydro pump, so he gets all 3 elemental moves in there.
Solar or fire blast, burn them like a frying pan. Hydro pump will wet them, send them higher than a geyser can.
And then he ends the verse by making a reference to Diamond Hands, which is somebody who doesn't ever sell their stock. And I think that that can be compared to Blue's attitude because he's never willing to lose. He's too proud of it. It is fitting with the rhyme scheme and clever when you put it in context.
Snatching up a starter from Professor Realm's lab. Sneasel for the stealing, you ain't never get it back.
I love Silver's verse. Kevin Bennett has such a great delivery. We've been waiting to see him in a cypher, and if I'll be honest, I think that we should have worked together like yesterday. Like, we need to do a collaboration. So he takes a different approach, right? Ham Sandwich is throwing these rhymes at you and getting all up in the references with the Pokemon names and attacks. And Silver's telling a story arc. You're getting from start to finish. He stole a starter, and by the end of it, he got to keep the starter and he learned his lesson. So you're seeing his inner battle the entire time. Nothing is too crazy in terms of wordplay, but there's a lot of relevant terminology. And of course, he's able to paint the picture of how unique Silver is as a rival when he's talking about getting bullied and kicking you to pavement and just being more violent than the other rivals are. Kevin comes in with these super well-timed animations on the beat, and of course he tends to find the best clips. Like, he has a clip of Silver with Looker, the police officer, in the background holding up a badge. I don't know how you do it. It's like written in the stars almost. My favorite part of Silver's verse is when he says,
It's probably why I don't have me a heart of gold, but over time I learned there's a silver part of my soul.
Now, that's an obvious reference to Heart Gold and Soul Silver, and it could have just been an obvious reference, but he goes the extra mile and makes that a turning point, a character development moment. It's a beautiful parallel to the actual character itself. So I'm up 3rd. Gen 3 is the best generation, and I had a chance to represent it here in this cypher. Wally is a very unique rival up until this point. He is very timid and shy, and in a literal sense, he is sickly. Wily has an undisclosed illness as a character trait in the video game, and it's constantly repeated and part of his character arc. In the video games, Wally's parents allow him to move to Verdant Turf Town, where the air just happens to be cleaner because all of the winds push the ash from Mount Chimney over into Route 113. So when I'm writing this cypher, the first thing that I think of before any references is that I want to demonstrate that he is sickly at the beginning, and by the end, I want him to do something that turns that on its head, makes him sick no longer. I do that at the beginning by making the reference to being sick and coughing, and then at the end of my verse, I say, I'm not gonna choke. Anyone thinking that I'm gonna choke ain't gonna make it to Victory Road. Think about the context. I do that in the form of a fast rap with no break or breath in between. So he has built himself up, and he now has the breath, he has the power to deliver that kind of line because he has grown as a character. Let's talk about the actual lyrics now.
I'm off the wall, call me Wally the Unstoppable. Pass the ball and I'll accomplish the impossible.
I'm coming right out the gate like he thinks he can do it. He's unstoppable. He'll accomplish the impossible. And then he goes, you remember, he's not quite there yet. I use pass the ball as a basketball reference because we're playing on that hip-hop culture. But also because Wily first begins his journey by asking Norman to pass him the ball, to give me a Pokemon and give me a chance to go out there and prove myself. And I'll accomplish the impossible. And Kevin, who edited this video, takes that a step further by referencing visually something that is quite nearly impossible, Wily encountering and catching a shiny Ralts in the catching tutorial.
Oxygen is toxic, I can feel it in my bronchioles. 6-spitting kid, gotta send you to the hospital.
I'm telling you that he's a sick kid, but also he's spit sick, and he's gonna send you to the hospital, not me, not the sick boy. When I say oxygen is toxic, it's a reference to Roselia, and a fun fact, I do reference all of Wally's Pokemon in this verse.
I got green on my brain, make it rain when I clock you with Mega Galade. You can call it a cute charm, but make no mistake, I got this rock on my chain like I'm Flavor Flav.
I got green on my brain. Okay, that's an obvious reference because his hair is green, but also he has money on the mind. Even though it's so easy, think about what it's setting up right now. I like to section off my stanzas and build up a world within them and have the punchline ease in hit, and then on to the next one. Now make it rain like money when I clock you with Mega Gallade. So clock is to hit, but also as I'm building it up, remember the word clock, okay? Because the next line is, you can call it a cute charm, that thing around my neck. Cute charm happens to be the ability of Wally's Pokemon, Delcatty. So that's another reference to one of Wally's Pokemon. But it's not a cute charm. It's a rock, like a jewel on my chain, like I'm Flavor Flav. Of course, Flavor Flav is known for wearing a big clock around his neck that hangs low on his chest, similar to a diamond or a gemstone or something that would be considered an accessory of high affluence. Wally's keystone that hangs around his neck obviously resembles the clock on Flavor Flav's neck. And I use the word rock because it is specifically a keystone, right? It's the item that allows you to mega evolve Gallade.
I'm running with the blade, the sci-fi, the sci-fi. I'll tear you with Octarian sky high.
Okay, so I'm running with Gallade, right? I'm running with the blade on his arm, running with, not only am I charging at you with it, but I'm running it on my team. You know, I'm running Gallade. Gallade is a psychic fighting type, so he's sci-fight. Sci-fi is short for science fiction, which just so happens to be the genre of the movie Blade Runner, how I'm running with the blade. Of course, we reference Gallade, one of his Pokemon, but another reference to Altaria, Sky High.
You can say Mayday, used to be afraid, but I'm switching up the game. I'm no longer Mr. Nice Guy.
All right, name drop for the best Pokegirl, and of course, the person who Wally is a rival to in Generation 3, May. I used to be afraid, but I'm switching up the game. I'm no longer Mr. Nice Guy. So you're getting that character development now when Wally becomes an actual challenge later in the game. Get a flashing cannons, but flash cannon happens to be a move in Pokemon that can be used by Magnezone, which is another one of Wally's Pokemon. When you battle him in Victory Road, he is a Magneton, but if you face him in the Battle Maison, it evolves into a Magnezone. And Magnezone being a pun.
Give it an oath written in stone. I'm gonna travel the globe. Anyone thinking that I'm gonna choke ain't gonna make it through Victory Road.
And at the end here, I have that moment, like I mentioned earlier, where he has mustered up all the breath and can now deliver this very fast line. I'm giving an oath written in stone. I'm gonna travel the globe. Anyone thinking that I'm gonna choke ain't gonna make it to Victory Road. It all starts with the word Victory Road. I know that's gonna be the punchline, and now how am I gonna lead into it, okay? Also, when I say I'm gonna travel the globe, if you go through Wally's flavor text in the game, and especially if you search through his bedroom, you will find that one of his goals is to travel the world. And he can't do that on account of his parents saying that he's too sick to do so, but he's finally mustered up the energy and the courage and the breath to go do that, and he's gonna travel the globe. And anyone thinking that he's gonna choke, get it, because if he was too sick he might choke, but also choke in sense of performance, they're not gonna make it through Victory Road, where of course you infamously battle Wally in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald.
Came in with the toy. Barry wanna battle, better hurry, cause your man is in a rush. Can't even slow him for a Pokedex, so good luck keeping up. And if you're tardy to the party, I'll be charging $1 million.
All right, my bro Cam is up next as Barry. We're going back to back. I love it. In the Cam Steady cinematic universe, he has already played Barry once before.
I'm on fire now with this fight for survival. It's Mat4yo, loser, and my rival thinks he's a man of fierce and passion. When I get badges, no problem passing.
So you know that if Lucas ever shows up again, who might be reprising that role? Cam comes in with the very hectic flow, perfect for the character who is constantly running into you, bumping into you, thudding into you. He's going in with all references to Barry's Pokemon as well. And my favorite thing that Cam does in his verse is when he uses Barry as a homophone.
Got a terror EQ, I'm a barrier bitch. Yeah, Barry hits your barriers break. Hope the Barry hits because the ape will burn you with the flare and the blitz.
Think about a barrier, right? Not the literal Pokemon move barrier, but maybe like Light Screen or Reflect. Those moves are actually broken by the move Brick Break, so it's a perfect reference. Hope the berry hits because the ape will burn you, right? So if you're holding a Rost berry, then it will cure you of a burn if you were to get burned by Infernape. So
yeah, when Barry bonds with scary mons, we die in size.
When Barry bonds with scary mons, we're giant in size. So not only when they bond with the Pokemon do they Gigantamax, but also Barry Bonds was a Giants baseball player. I always think Cam is perfect for Barry, and of course that's why I named my rival Cam when I'm playing Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. All right, Sharon comes in, he's going wild. Remember Generation 5, we're going with that Americana hip-hop style of delivery. Sharon is kind of more studious, so there's one way you can lean into it, or you can give him kind of a different personality and lean into that. Like, yeah, I'm cool. Like, I might be a nerd, but I'm cool. And he's going in there. Yeah, whatever. Like, he's screaming, and I love it. My favorite line in Sharon's verse, let's be real, nothing cure him unless the Draco arrive. You're sick thinking that you're better than me, and the only way that we're going to cure your sickness is by defeating you with a Draco meteor. And of course, there's a reference in there to cure him, the dragon Pokemon from Black and White. The Generation 5 transitions are always key because I feel like that's a moment where people are either going to continue watching or they're going to turn off. And Politicist grabs your attention. He does it well. Now, Ty Wilde comes in as Hugh, and there is quite a bit to break down in here just because he does a lot with not just references but also wordplay that I just think is important to point out because I liked a lot of it quite a bit. So
this young Hugh no hefter, I don't play boy. This ain't a game boy, needed the essence for these highs, dog. Red side on the Draco, lit them like Flygon, team plasma.
You get that obvious reference to Hugh Hefner. This ain't a Game Boy, I need a de-esser for these highs, dog. All right, so let's break this down. It's not a Game Boy anymore. They're playing a DS, right? Need a de-esser. What's a de-esser, you might ask? A de-esser is a tool in an audio workspace that identifies high frequencies that are produced when you make the letter S sound and turns them down. So you're gonna need a de-esser for Hugh's highs. What does he mean by highs? Well, his accomplishments, right? His successes. The only way that you could possibly tone down his high notes is if you use a de-esser tool. Red sight on the Draco, lift him like Flygon. So red sight as in a gun, but also red sight because Flygon's eyes are red. So X in your brain out. It's a direct reference to Team Plasma's costume and how they have an X on their head. Right, you gotta slow this down, hold on. Unpheasant fly with a scope. All right, pause for a second. Let's go on Smogon really quick. Unpheasant is a mediocre Pokemon. However, it has the ability called Super Luck. And Super Luck is often paired with an item called the Scope Lens, which increases the chances of getting a critical hit to 50% half the time. So this dude is referencing battle mechanics and strategies in his verse. Crazy. And then at the end of his verse, he makes a reference to all three of the elemental monkeys, right? Green on my mind, semi-sage. Then he says, it blew minds, right? Blew minds, but wait a second. He just said green on my mind. Now he said blue mind, like semi-poor, blue head, blue hair. Banana clip like you would find on the bottom of a rifle, and of course semi-automatic, but semi-sear. Dude is wildin'. All right, and the way that he ends it, he says, make him see different the way that Hugh sliding. But notice it's spelled different, Hugh. What is hue? That's color, right? And you can change color using a hue slider. See what I mean? Wow, okay, so that was a lot. Now we're in Generation 6, and Shauna represents all of the rivals here. She name drops the other two for good measure. Chi-Chi comes in, very different from the way that everybody else sounds. The way that they changed the instrumental beneath her is to kind of make it sound like Gwen Stefani-ish. Cam made a reference to Holla Back Girl when he asked Dustin to add those elements into the beat, and I think it works really well. And it works especially well when she starts singing. I think her singing part is very, very good. Some of her best work here. The beat cuts at the end and you hear nothing but her harmonies. It sounds awesome. Two of Shauna's favorite lines for me are how she says X and Y, and then she says, do I even gotta ask why? So that's a direct homophone. And then she says, of course, we may have started on the same page, but I'm making moves and gonna leave you upstaged because of the performances that Shauna and of course Serena participate in. Mix Williams comes in with the smooth island flow. You gotta love it, it's very tropical. The beat helps him out and conveying that emotion very well. And of course, he's coming in with a lot of relevant words that help paint the picture of life on the island in Alola. So of course, you have a reference to Alolan Raichu, kahunas, malasada, island, surge surfing, ride the wave, all different things that Hal can specifically reference and have it be more impactful.
Hey look, my shorty a fairy like P Marina is. My chances of winning as big as the arena is.
It almost feels like he's surfing a little bit, the way he's just kind of, you know, riding it and going back and forth a little bit. No complaints there. Of course, Breton Boy comes in. Breton never disappoints. He has references to all three of the past Gala rappers and Cam Cyphers. Of course, he says claim he'll be the victor. He actually makes a callback, whether intentionally or not, to Ham Sandwich's verse as Chairman Rose when he makes a reference to capping. Just Urban Dictionary, that cap thing that all the kiddies are saying nowadays. And of course, champion time is something that Leon says in the game and was a cornerstone of Dan Bull's verse when he played Leon. One of the favorite things that Breton does in this cipher is he uses the Pokemon's names as direct puns.
Bring your team and send your ace, still you'll never be as hard.
Okay, you might just think he's saying Cinderace, but he says bring your team and send your ace. Okay, I like that. And now wait a second, there's one more.
Cause each and every bar of mine a Pokemon, unique in type and design. Paradox, so how I've caught them all and not Mr. Rhyme.
What do you mean he didn't catch Mr. Rhyme? Hold on. Slow it down. It's paradoxal how I've caught them all and not missed a rhyme. Boom! Breton Boy on the beat. Okay. And then finally, we end this cipher with Gary, who is depicted in this verse as an OG, an original, the very first rival, and of course, bringing it all the way back to the retro television show. And Mega Ran is a perfect choice for that because he's one of the original nerdcore rappers. He has that mature demeanor about him, that old school hip hop flair that he brings to the beat, especially when he just emphasizes can't stop, won't stop, 96, bad boy. I have to mention this is also a reference to Can't Stop, Won't Stop, a Bad Boy Story. And that was by Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, whatever you want to call him. Some more hip-hop influences coming out here.
Took a couple L's, but it's all love till the 45 degrees and now it's all dub.
And my favorite line in Gary's verse is, I took a couple L's, but it's all love till it's 45 degrees and now it's all dubs. Like, okay, we need a visual aid here for that one. That was pretty sick. I love it. That's a dub for me in my book for sure. Everyone did such a great job on the cipher, and even though I had so much fun making it, I have to admit it's not even the best thing that Cam and I made in the last week. So you're just gonna have to stay tuned a little bit longer to check that out. If you liked all the rappers, please make sure you go support their original content. If you like what I do in the ciphers, go check out my channel. I have a whole Pokemon rap album, many more Pokemon rap songs that came after that, and of course, many more to come in the future. I'm Mat4yo, and that's all for yo today.
Just hold on a bit. If only you could see the knowledge you were garner over time, you'd never call it quits. You will see a future where you supersede your lucid dreams by 2 or 3 obtuse degrees with newly gleaned acuity, and you will be the glue that keeps these dueling beasts in unity. And you help me to thwart the story.